Hey, Stella. So these robot dogs in Ukraine, right? Like, you've seen the clips. Four-legged bots, some with rifles, some dragging gear. It's totally sci-fi coming to life on the battlefield. Feels a bit Black Mirror-y, doesn't it? Oh, for sure, Maddie. Like, it's hard to ignore. Those images are pretty striking. The pitch is super seductive, too, you know? Why risk a soldier's life when a robot can do the dangerous stuff? Carry ammo, scout trenches, even detect explosives. A robot doesn't feel fear or fatigue. It's loyal, tireless, and, expendable. It's the dream, right? Exactly. Generals and contractors, they're drooling over it. But here's the thing. Anyone who's actually seen these bots outside of a perfectly curated demo knows what usually happens the second you take them into the real world. They fall over, they freeze, they glitch out. War zones, they don't exactly play nice with still-in-progress prototypes. Ukraine tried to turn sci-fi into strategy, but reality just, pushed back hard.
So, Maddie, it sounds like these robot dogs, they weren't exactly purpose-built for warfare, right? I heard they were more for parades or something.
Yeah, precisely. The BAD 2 units, for instance, British-made, dog-sized, designed for carrying supplies, recon, mine detection, very useful, but not for charging trenches. What happened is, once these things got into the hands of soldiers fighting for survival, they started tinkering. They took commercial chassis, often from Chinese makers, and refitted them. Like Lego, you know? Snap on a stretcher for evacuation, tape on an explosive to blow an entrance, or plans for a machine gun module.
Wow, that's incredibly adaptive thinking, but also pretty wild. So the vision was a mechanical platoon that's both adaptable and expendable. But how did that actually pan out when it came to the actual battlefield?
Not so well, Stella. The reality hit hard. The stability was good on flat ground, but eastern Ukraine isn't a showroom. It's mud that swallows boots, trenches, rubble-strewn villages. Soldiers joked they were afraid of puddles. They got bogged down, struggled on uneven surfaces, tipped over with heavy loads. It was a nightmare. Yeah, I can only imagine how frustrating that must have been. It really highlights the difference between lab conditions and real combat. Drones are cheap and effective for some tasks, but these ground robots were costly and vulnerable to the same jamming. If you're a commander with limited resources, the math just doesn't add up, right?
Totally. It's not just about current tech, though. This whole experiment, even in its failure, gives us huge lessons. It shows us what not to do. War is merciless to half-baked tech. You don't get to, polish and iterate in a battle zone. But historically, clumsy prototypes lead to terrifying breakthroughs. Submarines, tanks, aircraft, they all started rough. The real question is, as robots become more viable, who controls them? It raises serious ethical and strategic questions about accountability, discrimination, and human control. We need to discuss this as a society, right now. It's critical we visit autonomouswar.ai to learn more and be part of this crucial conversation.